Hey, everybody. It's Donna Woods, CEO of Photonic Health. And in today's edition of Health Made Simple, we are going to be chatting with Pam Stanner. And Pam is one of our very, very special ambassadors for Photonic Health. And, um, and one of the reasons is because she just brings this whole wealth of amazing, amazing experience with her. She is certified. Just a little bit about her is she's certified in healing touch for animals. And if you've ever had a healing touch, it's an amazing, amazing modality that I absolutely love. She is the coordinator for Healing Touch Association in Knoxville, Tennessee. She's certified with Equisage for equine and canine massage therapy. She's certified in aromatherapy with the Institute of Spiritual Healing and Aromatherapy. She's a Healing Touch Level 3 practitioner. She's a biofield tuning foundations practitioner, and she is also a field student level for Masterson Method integrated performance bodywork, another fabulous modality that we love, love, love. She is a student of Tellington Touch Training, and of course, last but not least, she also utilizes Photonic Health, red lights, and essential oils for all of her body work. And she also works with all sorts of animals. Now, Pam, welcome. I'm so excited to chat with you today.
Thank you very much, Donna. I'm so glad to be here.
Yes, that's, I love working with and chatting with people who have so, like, you're an explorer. It looks to me like you just go, "Ooh, this is really interesting. Let's go down this rabbit hole and let's explore this." And once you've gone down, you come up and you go, "Oh, look at that one." And it's not, and it's not that you're specializing in different things, because all of those modalities are a form of energy work, right?
Right, exactly right. And frequencies. I think that once you start learning, you just don't want to stop because it's so fascinating. I'm a dental hygienist too. I didn't put that in my resume.
Well, that was one of the things. It's like you're a dental hygienist. So how do you go from being a dental hygienist from doing all this amazing energy work?
Well, it's interesting. In dental hygiene, you pretty much do the same thing every day on every patient. I mean, you've got a little variation, but it's pretty much the same. And
Right.
I kept feeling like I really needed to do something else, something that came from my heart more, which was with animals. And so I guess I went along for years and just didn't, you know, pursue that. And then I fell and broke my elbow really on some ice. And that was like in, I guess, 2009. And, if you break your arm, you're really not going to be cleaning teeth for a while. So
Correct.
while I was sitting at home for about 4 months, I thought, what if I can't go back and do this anymore? What do I really want to do? I mean, what do I want to do now that has really been in my heart for a long time? And so I had all that time to really sit and think about it. And I knew I wanted to do something with animals. So then I had a hard time of figuring out, where do you start? Where do you want to start with that? And so I started with the massage therapy for horses and dogs. And I mean, and then I just started.
I'm going to interject something here, because we
Sure.
started our company in 2009. And, we live in a very technologically advanced society right now. But in 2009, it was not that. It was
Right.
not that. If
It
we
was.
wanted to pursue something like that, like anything like that, and especially energy work, we really had to seek it out and work for it, because it wasn't like just at the click of your fingertips.
No,
So,
and people weren't really knowledgeable about it as much as we are now. I mean, it was almost like I would show up at somebody's house and they'd say, "Oh, here comes the black magic woman." It was different concept of how people saw it. Now it's a lot more appreciated, I think.
correct. Mine was, my dad always referred to me as, oh, this is my voodoo witch doctor daughter.
Yes, I heard that before too, Donna. I know. And you're laughing because you know how scientific it is, but they just don't know yet.
Well, and it's so interesting because it's it's either science discovers it for, I don't want to say science, it's science first and then there's the trend, or there's the trend where everybody comes on board and then the science catches up. And I think red light therapy has been one of, I know that red light therapy has been one of those because it's been being researched since like the 1960s. And even in a ton of it was done in the 1990s, but it just, like when we started our company in '09, I think we were like the second company in the United States that was creating red light therapy products. And it was so funny because one of my friends just messaged me a scientific research paper on red light therapy and cancer and the use of LEDs with cancer in animals. And my comment was, oh God, thank goodness they're finally catching up to us.
That's right. That's right. It's crazy too, because I mean, I really value that you all put it out there because it's hard when you're the front runner. I think that same way with Linda Tellington Jones. She put it out there way early, and it took a long time before people appreciated her. And the same with you and Brian. I love your products and I use them every day on either a client or my horse or other people's horses. So I know it takes a long time sometimes to catch up, but aren't you proud when you look back and think, okay, we did it. And now people are figuring it out.
You did it. Well, I love your story is so similar to ours because, I don't know if many people know it or not, but I was a commercial insurance agent.
I did not know that.
Commercial insurance agent, loved my job, and like we did different things every day. So it certainly kept my attention and I was learning things. But like you said, it wasn't something that came from my heart. And
Right.
and I just really felt like I needed to be doing something with the animals, that in helping the animals on some way, shape, or form. And so I just find it so fascinating that like
Yeah.
2009 was like our year, like the energies must have been super amazing.
I know.
um,
I think so too. I felt like I always told everybody, God kind of kicked me in the tushy because I wasn't doing it. I was just going along day to day, doing the same thing. I still do it 2 days a week. I still work Wednesdays and Thursdays. And I love my patients there and they love me. So I still have really the same ones. But I felt like I wasn't doing it. So God, I fell. God, I don't want to blame that on God, but I did fall and then it turned. It turned. And so I got to really start growing and learning more about something that was special to my heart. And you're right. Once you start, then you go, oh, look over here, look over there. Oh, there's so much you can't, you just have to take one thing at a time and try to learn about it, and it leads you to something else. So it's kind of beautiful in a way, and you feel like you've made a difference in your life then.
Absolutely, absolutely. So, what is the because you've got lots of certifications, what
Yeah.
do you find? What do you like? So, I mean, let's talk about how you determine, like when you go see a new client, like a new dog for say, like how do you determine your course of action?
Yeah, that's a good question because I do go out and see the animals in the home, in the farm. And so either way, um, I guess the first thing I do is assess their energetic balance. Because to me, what I've learned for myself is that any physical ailments they have, injuries, I'm not a veterinarian. So all I can really do is offer some suggestions, or sometimes I get them to the right place too. But if their energetic body is not open, balanced, and anchored in, you're not going to get the results to stick. So I can massage an animal and it's not going to really stick until I get that energetic body. So I start with that. always. And, it's just you do a simple assessment, just like the animal chiropractor does with their hands to assess, owie places on the body and what they need to fix and get lined up. And gosh, I've worked with animals that have cancer, animals that are just needing to transition. And my always hope is that whatever I do helps them to feel better, either toward wellness or toward their transition time. And it really does help if you get their energy field open and balanced for them to be able to transition easier. So, I guess all aspects of their life, but I always start with the energetic. I studied all these things, and it came to me that at the end, that was the glue. If I don't get that right first and get it sorted out, then all the other things that I can do with the red lights, with the tuning forks, with the massage therapy, all that then comes together in a whole package to help them have vitality. And that's my real goal always.
Oh, I love that. That is so beautiful. That's so beautiful. Because so often, I know like for Brian and I, when we go out and we work on animals, a lot of times we're like the last resort type situation. And I'm
Yeah.
sure you are as well. And and it is interesting because I'm very like I just feel it everybody's energy like automatically. It's just one of those things. And so I'm always assessing what's going on from an energetic perspective, and Brian's more on the mechanical aspect of it, the physical.
That's
The engineer jumps in, and so I appreciate the fact that you take that and do the energetic assessment first, and then go from there.
right.
Because
And you can pull all the things you've learned, like you can put the red lights on an area that they need it. And I know you use your intuition a lot too, because sometimes I have no idea where I'm going to start. I try my best in any field that I've studied in. You don't go in with like, I'm going to do this. You have to go
right,
in with, what do they need? And I have to, when I go, you might assess like their environment. Like I learned that from you all. You assess, their barn area where they are, their team, their herd mates, you kind of look around at everything as you go in, but you don't have a preconceived notion of where you're going to end up with your appointment. You just go in and assess and see where everything leads you to. And it could be the red lights, or it could be some essential oil. It could be, it could be any of these things that you've learned. And you just have to sort of figure that out as you go through.
right. Yeah, I love that. Yeah, it's one of those things that, we teach in our courses is, and I was surprised when we started teaching it that we ended up spending more time on it because people weren't aware of it. But, just, and it's something that I've learned to appreciate even more, especially as I delve deeper into my own horsemanship and what I do with my own horses. But like Pat Pirelli says, like your session with your horse starts the minute that you start thinking about it.
That is
Not the minute,
really good. That's
not
good.
not the minute that you have your horse in front of you. It starts the minute that you start thinking about it. And they are such and dogs and cats too, all of our animals, they're energetic beings first.
Right.
And so when we really tune into that, and like when I really started tuning into okay, I'm going to go play with my horse and observe, like just observe him while he's out in the pasture as I'm going through and starting to think about it and how in tune, and is he open to it? And so it's so cool that you're walking in and you're just going right for the energetic body first, because it's not, even despite the fact it's 2024, people still are going to be like, what is that?
Yeah, exactly. And
What is
even what you said is right. You start, if I've found that my sessions with all the animals will go better, even if they're coming here to the house, if before it all begins and I'm preparing myself, if I send that energy out to them, oh, that here we are, we're coming together. I'm here to help you, and help you with from a love place, So if I do that with the animals, hey, I'm coming to see you today. I want you to, be ready and be open
Yep.
to it. Even though you're sending it forward, they're there and they always will react better if I do that. If I forget to do that and just show up,
Right.
they're always
Right.
more skittish. It takes me longer to get them settled. But if I send that ahead, sort of that message ahead, and we kind of communicate with each other, because I'm not an animal communicator, but some of that does come in, as you open yourself up during your sessions. You get Eileen McCusick from the biofield tuning calls it something drops into your mail slot. And I love that because you're just doing your work. And then all of a sudden this thought comes in and I don't know who it comes from, but it always is right. It always is like the right step next to
Right.
go forward with. Yeah.
It's your intuition.
It's
And
your
I think
intuition.
you know, especially the eras that we grew up in, you were taught like, no,
Right.
put that aside.
Right.
And the more that we work with energy and the more that we delve into all of these energetic modalities, the more our intuition is like, hello, I'm right. I'm going to keep
Right.
sending you messages until you pay attention to me. At least that's been my experience.
Mine as well. I agree with that.
Yeah. So I absolutely love that. So let's talk about like, can you give our listeners a little bit of for ones that aren't like, what would your definition of an energetic body be?
Oh gosh, to me, there are, whether it's an animal, you've got your energy field. Theirs is much larger than ours because they have to live off their instinct. We're predators, and most of the people I'm working with are prey animals. And so their field is larger to protect them. And so that's why your kitty cat or your dogs, when you pull in down the street, they know you're coming home way down and, streets away. They know you're coming. Or our cat can be sitting upstairs. And if something's, a mouse is downstairs, we don't have any mice in our house, but, they're aware of it. That's to me their energetic awareness. And people the same way. I always find it mystifying how somebody can feel like there's a dangerous situation and they don't listen to it. You should
Right.
always listen to your inner, but that's our energy system talking to us, telling us something's going on and we need to pay attention. So I look at the biofield, I look at the chakra system, and I look at the Hara line system, which all beings have. So those
Okay.
three systems. And so I analyze, are the chakra systems working? Are the Hara line points working? And what's out in the biofield? And it can be from something that's happening now, or it can be from the past too, that you can carry. I believe you can carry trauma, you can carry incidents that have happened from when you were born till now in your field. And sometimes that's holding you back from other things, and it's holding your health back and your vitality back. So getting those out of your field, like a record player with little glitches in it, and you're trying to just clean that out, let it go back to be smooth. It improves the music of your life, if you will, in that way.
So beautiful. Yes, it's also called DNA.
Yes, it is.
Because
And your ancestors, all of that. Yes,
your
yes.
ancestors, well, and it was interesting because I recently had a medical DNA test done, and
Okay.
and science is so amazing. Like we're moving at warp speed, and so like the gentleman that read the results of my DNA, very analytical, very left brain, and so he just went blah, 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 and he just pulls up, and he goes, and you've had a couple TBIs, and I was like, what?
Really?
What?
What?
But then I started thinking back and I went, oh yeah, that incident. Yep. 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 And so it's not and so it's that information, because like you said, like we hold that, we hold traumas, like if we don't process through it. And when I say we, I'm talking about us, I'm talking about animals even,
Right.
and I'm gonna say especially horses, because like horse people are notorious for, like, if my horse gets scared, we try to shut that down. Not me, but like as a whole.
Right.
um and that horse can't process that emotion. And
Right.
and so then where does it go? It's
Yeah.
got to go somewhere, and if it doesn't come out, it's going to go in.
Right.
And and so yeah, so I think that the whole aspect of that is just so fascinating. And being able, especially for you as a practitioner, to be able to tune into that and tune in to go, let's go through this energetic exchange, and let's see if we can't, like, nudge that little bit out of there, like just
Right.
get it out.
Just put it back in the energy, the general energy system. So, out there in the world, the universal energy system. It's not, I don't think of energy as bad or good. You just it needs to just be, you don't want to carry trauma. You don't want to carry upset. You don't want to be angry all the time. You just need to get it out there, let it kind of neutralize back in to the universal field. And then it's working for you instead of against you, holding you back and
Correct.
things.
And like you said, your example of transitioning from being a hygienist to the
Mhm.
path that you're on now to being an energy healer, that's what I'm going to call you.
I think.
Is, some people would perceive the breaking of the arm as a negative experience, but it was just a shift. It wasn't,
Yes.
the outcome of it was fabulous. And so, I'm very careful, and I really, like, okay, it's not bad or good, it just is.
Right. And so many things that I think we experience, like as kids, you might grow up with your family not being the, most supportive, let's say, as you should. But all the things you learn from that set you off in a direction. If I read this really interesting biography, and I can't even remember the lady's name, but she came from this really dysfunctional family, and all her family was not doing really great things with their lives. It was what I would say is great things with their lives. But she took all of that and she turned her life to a life of helping people, supporting people, even monetarily as she went along in her life. So it's, what are you going to do with it? Are you going to take the things in your life that have happened to you that we might consider negative? Are you going to turn them into something really good, or are you going to let them take you down? And I just
Right.
think we should learn and grow and be better, because I want to make a difference before I go out of here someday. I want not for anybody else, but for me, that I have made some kind of difference for the reason I was here at this time in this life.
Correct.
Yeah.
That's beautiful. That's so
Well,
beautiful.
that's what you all are doing too with the pads. I mean, um, I can't tell you how many times I'll pull my pads out and then I have to explain what I'm doing, and then people understand.
Right. Yeah. And it's one of those things where we definitely see the state of the healthcare system crumbling. Like, it's
Yeah, I
2024,
think it's broken. I
and
agree.
it's not just broken, it's falling apart, and it's falling apart fast. But again, it's not good or bad, it just
Right.
is. And something good, some lots of goods are going to come out of it. And I feel like, and you're into essential oil, and the energy work, and all, and the tuning forks and things like that, and those are such powerful, all of them are such powerful modalities. I think what it's going to do, I'm hoping what it's going to do is it's going to give those things a place, closer to the front row. So
I hope that does
that,
happen.
so that's just my personal take on it all. Um, Pam, what's been like one of your biggest transformations, like say in a dog?
Um, well, I have gosh, there's so many. The most recent one was where, like I said, where I feel like we are complementary to so many things. So I've worked with a lady that I've worked on with her horse, and I've worked with her. And so her daughter had a dog that they just couldn't figure out what to do with. But my friend, her name is Rita. Rita knew the dog wasn't tracking correctly. So the daughter came up to visit, and so I came over to do my work, and I worked with the dog, assessed the dog's energy, got that balanced out. But I really felt like the dog had jumped out of a cart early on. This is still a young dog. And somehow people don't always remember the things that have happened, but when you start talking to them, this comes
Right.
out. And so I could tell that the dog had a problem. She wasn't moving correctly in the right shoulder. So I was said, okay, I did everything I did, and we need to get you into, and this is where you have to have your um, list of people you can call to help. So I called my friend, an animal chiropractor that she's a human chiropractor that also does the animals, got them in that evening because they were going back in about 3 days back to Florida, where you all are, and got him in, and the chiropractor saw the animal twice before they had to leave, and the dog jumped up in the car for the first time ever to go home. So how much pain and how much, animals hide their, it's just a normal Masterson method. He always said they're not going to show their pain because they're part of the herd and they can't get left behind. And they don't, we've always heard that from any animal authority. Right. So they don't want to show their pain. They want to just be part of, they don't want to get attacked. They don't want to be hurt. So the dog was just hiding it and doing the best that she could. And her name is Stella. And glad to say Stella's doing really well, feeling better. That's one. And then another one is a little dachshund that a lady called me out to work with, that really they were, like you said, the little dog went, not dead yet, raised her little paw, but they pretty much, the animal owner felt like, I can do something for this dog, but I just don't know what. They kind of written her off like she wasn't going to be here. And she wasn't eating. So that's always a bad sign. So I went over to see this dog, and right after I finished and I work, usually a session with a dog is, 45 minutes or an hour. It can go, if you get an hour, you're doing pretty good. And this dog, I spent 2 hours working on this dog because the dog laid down, and I did something in our healing touch round was called chi balance. And we worked on that for essentially 2 hours. The longest probably I've ever worked on a dog. And the dog got up, went over to the counter and hit the counter with her paw and said, I want my food. So it brought her appetite back, which was really good. And so she lived for 4 more years longer with this great animal owner's care. And with regular visits, to keep her vitality there as long as we could, than she was supposed to, by what they said. So, and you don't always get that. Sometimes you go over and you work with a dog or a cat or a horse, and you can tell this maybe toward the end, and you're just trying to make them as comfortable as you can for that. And that's not up to me to say when the end is. I just try to help them have the best quality for as long as they can.
Yeah, I love that. I love that. And we don't, we really don't, the transition is not something like any of us love.
No, we don't love it.
But it's an interesting thing, because when you are doing energy work on these animals, it as part of life, right? Like Brian and I had gotten called out, and the horse was down and had been down, and it had this horrible growth on its growing out of its eye socket. And we had,
goodness.
yeah, it was awful. But the lady was so committed because it was her daughter's horse. And she brought us out because it had laminitis. And so Brian, being an advanced applied equine podiatrist, of course we go out there. But of course, and for whatever reason, we brought our one dog with, and we never take our animals on calls with us. But Shelby was with us that day, and the horse was laying down. Shelby came up and smelled, introduced herself to the horse, and the horse was chatting with her, was making noises, and then she was done. Like, Shelby went back to the truck, she was done. It was
That
it
was
was
your intuition right there to take
right.
her that day.
Absolutely, it was our intuition. And so Brian and I, worked on the horse. And of course, we never want to say this to a client, but we got in our vehicle to leave, and we went, gosh, please just let this horse just pass away peacefully, because right now it's just beyond, right? And
Right.
we got the call the next morning that she had woken up, and the horse had transitioned over peacefully in the pasture.
Which is
And
wonderful.
and actually, that's very unusual for a horse to do that. Like, for
Right.
people that are horse people, like, there's usually always trauma or drama involved when it comes to horses transitioning over. So it's one of those really important things, because Brian and I feel like, the more peaceful the transition can be, the less baggage we carry on into the next aspect of our dimension.
Exactly. I totally agree with that. I mean, I
So,
worked with a horse the same way. The owner, I worked with this horse for quite a long time, and she was doing all kinds of injections and things to try to keep the horse going. But the horse was fairly old. And when the horse got down this one time, she knew. She called me over. I came out,
yeah,
and she was so attached to this horse that she had this beautiful barn and everything. She just could not be in there with the
right.
horse. She was too upset, and she knew what was coming, but she just was having a hard time. So I stayed there with the horse while she called the vet to come to
Yeah.
euthanize the horse. And the horse was laying on the ground, and I laid down with that horse's head in my lap and
Yeah.
just stayed there. And I mean, I was there for hours until that. Sometimes the vets can't come right away. You have to wait them out. And so the horse stayed really calm, and she came in. It was really beautiful. I mean, it's not something when I started this, I thought that I would
Right.
think is beautiful, but it's beautiful when you can help them with this kind of thing. And the vet finally came, and it had turned, by then it was dusk and it was getting dark, and the lady brought a lamp down into the barn. It was the most beautiful, peaceful. And when the vet came, it's one of, she's my equine vet. When she came in, she was a little leery at first because the horse is down and you don't want to get hurt when, because they can thrash around in a bunch of things. But she kind of read the energy because she's so good at that too. She eased in, gave the horse that first shot. That then the owner could come in, and then we could, proceed with what we needed to do. And it was beautiful. I mean, it's still in my mind one of the most beautiful transitions I ever helped with. And I never thought I'd be doing that when I started out. But
Yeah, you don't. Yeah,
you
but
just get let into it, don't
it's part of the cycle, right? And
you? Right.
so, I sort of knew at the beginning that we were going to end up here. And so one of the things that I hope, as listeners and responsible horse owner, dog owner, cat owners, like, energy practitioners are just not there, like, to help make the animals feel better. It can also help with making this transition a lot smoother.
Right.
And especially if you know that energetically or emotionally you're not capable of being there, or, I'm not going to say strong, but being there for your animal, energetically being there for your animal when this goes on, consider reaching out to Pam or somebody, that can be there for your animal to make the transition, because none of us are getting out alive.
Right. And some people love their animal, but they have a hard time letting go, even when the animal needs to go. They can't
Yeah.
see it somehow. And I've seen other people in this area that are my friends that are energy practitioners. They've helped people realize you have to let them come to the realization that they have to let the animal go. Horses are especially hard, and um, and help sort of guide them to that point to where they can let them go. And if you need to be the person there with the horse, right, that's right, you do it. And if they can be, great as well. But we even have, with the Healing Touch for Animals, they have techniques for euthanasia to help. And it's recognition too of what the animal's done in the person's life. The owners can help, and the kids can be there and talk to the animal about all the great things they shared, and help in that way ease the people and the animals toward that end result. It's really, yeah, it's hard. You have to talk about that, but as if you start into this,
Yeah.
you're that's your responsibility as well, to try to, you might have to hold it together while all that's going on and then go home and cry too. But that's right. You hold it together for everybody. And then when you get home, you can let your own, grief out a little bit. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we also have end of life points for red, and I think we actually implement green into that as well.
Yeah.
That's in our horse book and our dog book as well. For those of
Because
you
I
that,
have your books. Yes,
yeah,
you need those books. They're important. I've loaned mine out a million times. Just get one because you're going to need it a lot.
yes.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, Pam, this was so fabulous. Thank you so much for being on. If people, do you do any online or remote energy work at all?
I do. Yes, I do.
Okay.
I've worked on a dog in California, a cat in North Carolina. I mean, I did distance work. To me, it's frequency. So it doesn't matter if you're sitting right there or working
Yeah.
on somebody in Europe. It works equally as well. I have to put in one more tip for you all from one more thing I want to say. I have the half pad that I got, and my horse was having laminitis, and I used my red lights on the animal. And when the vet came, it took University of Tennessee. It took my vet about 3 days to get there, because. And so I was just using my red lights, using my oils and stuff. And when he came, he goes, "Well, this really looks like laminitis, but there's no digital pulse, there's no heat, and I was like, "Well, I use my red lights."
Yeah.
And they're like, "Oh," but yeah. So use them. I mean, you
Yeah.
gotta
Yeah.
use them. Yeah.
That's exactly what Brian designed that half wrap for, because he'd go out on client calls, and he's like, here here you go, here you go, here you go, but it needed to be something simple for people to use, so that's why he came up with the half wrap. And so
And the team points too. I used my
uh,
torches on the other foot while I just had one half wrap, and then I would take that off and, switch back and forth. So amazing results.
right.
And I use my red lights all the time. I'm not kidding. I have to, if I loan a pad to somebody so they can see what it's like, they're like, I do have to find them to get it back. So you've got a great product.
Oh, thank
I'm
you.
like, you
You're
can
like,
buy
I'm
one.
this sweet little energy worker, but if you don't give my pad back, then you are in trouble.
That's the one thing I'll fight over. I got to get my pad back. So I say you can buy one yourself. They're out there right there. And I always talk to you. I'm going to say how much helpful you all are, because sometimes you'll talk about the pads and then they'll think, well, I'm going to go to Amazon and get one from China because it's a little bit cheaper. And I said, well, you're not going to get the support or the help you need, or you have all the classes, you have the Facebook group, you have you don't get the support. And so most people realize that sometimes they make a mistake and get one, then it doesn't work, and they try to
Right.
get help and there's nobody there to help them. And
Right.
I value that in you all so much, because you all are always there.
Thank you. Thank you. That was, the support after the sale is paramount. And again, we've been in business since 2009. And with Brian being the engineer and designer of the products, we know the ideal frequency. We know the ideal, all of the specs and that's one of the reasons why we guarantee our products to work for 90 days. Like you got 90 days to get them to work, because
Right.
our products are designed, and so many other companies jumped on the bandwagon, and all they see are dollar signs, and we're
Right.
not in it. Like, we're not in it for that. We're in it to help you and to help the animals, and to get the results. And it is, like, it seems pretty straightforward at first, but then you start digging into it, and sometimes you just run into where you need a little extra support. And I'm so blessed that we have such an amazing team based here in the United States, mostly in the United States. I do have a couple team members in Venezuela.
Yeah, that's
Um,
good.
yes,
And you are
and
constantly improving too. Like I started with the pain-free pad and the bigger batteries, and now you got the small batteries. They're easier to use. The pads are easy. You constantly, that's the other thing I value about you all, is that you're always improving your products to have them easier use and more, and easier to carry around, easier to apply, and you're there for support. So I do want to put that in there. I think that's so important that you don't get from a lot of places.
well, thank you. We appreciate
Well, I'm a
it.
user and every day, so
If somebody would like to get in contact with you, and I'm sure somebody will because you're amazing,
well, thank you.
what is the best way for them to contact you?
Well, I can tell my phone number. It's 865-617-6745. And I have an email at zonlady@aol.com, which is tooth lady for anybody who wonders why I came up with that one. ZAHNLADY@aol.com. But my animal business is Cherokee Moon Healing Arts for animals and people. And I'm the coordinator for the Healing Touch for Animals classes in Knoxville, which we're having one in August for level 1, and it has levels as we progress up. So, you can also contact me that way, Knoxville at healingtouchforanimals.com.
Yay. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you, Donna, for talking about this.
And
Anytime you can get energy workout or the red light frequency and energy out into the world, I think it's so necessary and needed. And I'm glad to be able to talk to somebody who understands that and wants to promote it out there. So thank you for